Everybody, back again for another how-to from Tim's Drawing Room. Today we're going to be working a little bit on some squares here on the paper because we're going to be doing a couple different tangles and do a little bit of shading, show you a couple different things. We're going to do a string. We're going to do what is called a looks like a pine cone. I forget the name. They have so many names, and not everybody uses the same name for everything. But in our squares today, we have a design that is known as the poke leaf. So we'll do that one here, P-O-K-E-L-E-A-F. So you start with a stem, two lines like that. You kind of draw a frown at the end, and then you want to do an upside down heart like that. And you can make the stem a little bit longer on the next one, perhaps. Same thing, do the frown, and then the upside down heart. Make it come down from the top. You know, and remember, and it's the same thing we're always going to say, this is all freehand. There's no wrong way to do it. It's your design, it's your drawing. It's perfect the way you do it. Make one come out of the corner. So this is the poke leaf. And that one's going to look a little awkward, but who cares? I drew it awkward, and it's going to be awkward, and that's fine. You can draw leaves coming off the stems if you want, for a little variety. Shade them in, give it the contrast that we talk about so often around here. Can add some solid dots in between just to fill out the space, fill out the drawing. You can add other stuff along the edges, like some small half circles. Make it look kind of scalloped. And then do the same along the bottom. And, there you go. You've got one down. So the basic element is, again, two lines as close together as you can get them. At the top, like that, you do the upside down smile or frown, whatever you want to call it. And then it's the elongated, narrow heart shape. And maybe the frown at the top gets a little bit too big, but that's basically the design, and you can fill it in however you want. Go along the edge, give it the fine lines, makes it look like it has some circumference. Gives it a little character. And there's your poke leaf. Now the next one is called a mushroom or a toadstool, depending on who you talk to. But again, it's kind of the same thing, but this time we want to make it wider. And then up at the top, we do kind of like a circle around the top of the stem. And then you draw whatever kind of mushroom head you want it to have. Some fine lines underneath here in this white space where the stem is at to give it a little underside. And then, fill it in however you want, shade it however you want, add whatever designs to it that you want. Because remember, it's your drawing. You can do it your way. And Now that's design number 2. Now again, it's a couple of lines separated, and you do circle like that around the top. Make sure those lines extend in there. And then you can make it whatever shape you want. And that's another one that is common, is the one that looks like a bulb on top. And again, you can fill it in however you want. You can add a leaf. And you can add multiple, make it come out from behind one another. And just fill up your drawing that way. So this next one is called a mound. And basically, you just take a, kind of draw like you're drawing a partial circle at the bottom. And you just go up, progressively narrowing as this goes up. And again, it doesn't matter if it's not perfect. This is freehand. We expect a little variation, which is fine. And you can vary it in different ways. You can shade it. You can add some lines with some dots on the top, which is another one that is pretty well known and common and makes great filler. You can even make them come off your mound, because why not? So we call this mound. This is either, well, we'll just call it a mushroom. Another one is, it's kind of a flower-like design. Start with a circle, and here I am doing freehand. Go with a larger circle around it, and then an even larger circle around that. Shade in the middle, and then off this around the circumference. Some curly cues or lines with dots on them. You can even kind of do pinwheels or like a hook. You can vary the number of things that come off the end, and then in the ring that's right inside those curved lines you drew, fill it with lines. And then this other one, and you can add another one, maybe make it smaller, maybe just do 2 rings, fill it in, and have your curved lines coming off the edge. You know, add a little visual interest with some more curved lines with dots on them, because they're simple and they add to the drawing. Now this other one is called a Roxy. You start in the corner with kind of like an almond leaf shape, and you draw a stem to it, and then you take the stem and extend it. Draw another almond leaf shape, or as much as you can approximate it. Do another one. And maybe make a change direction. Start one from this corner. And with a little practice, the shapes will become more consistent. and that's fine if they don't, so long as they're generally in line with what it's supposed to look like, you know, you're doing good. So you can do things like this. And then these too, you can shade them, you can leave them unshaded, which I think these kind of have a decent effect if they're not shaded. You can put some more designs around the edge, which is, you know, kind of these half circles, however you want to do it. Scalloping. Put a half circle and a couple of lines up in this corner. And you can fill it in however you want. So that's, you know, five basic designs for you here. One of the other things too is, you can call it a cactus if you want. You can call it whatever, but nope, that was the wrong one. This is another one. So you take a oval, roughly oval shape, fill it in, and then draw another oval around it. Put lines in that outer ring like this. Let's shade in that corner. And then do another one like so. Go around it. And this is this is one of those that if everything's kind of a different shape, the shapes vary a little bit, it looks better and gives it a little more variety. You can even do something like this to fill in a corner. Go around it like that. I don't know what you'd call these. They're kind of supposed to be rocks, I guess, or maybe they're amoebas. I don't know. But if you're ever drawing like a Zen garden picture, a Zentangle garden, actually, these would look great at the bottom of the garden as a bunch of rocks, to be honest. And I think they'd look pretty good. And then shade in the areas where there's too much negative space. And you can fill the space up. You can do whatever you want. Add some more accents, if you will. And there you go. There's your poke leaf, your mushroom mound. I don't know what you want to call this. Call it a starfish. I have no idea. This is called a Roxy. And we'll just call these rocks or amoebas, because why not? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to show you something that is called, well, it looks like a pine cone, kind of. We're going to need this bigger space over here, and we're also going to I'm going to also show you what to do with a string. Now, we'll do the string first because that's the easiest, but all a string is just a line that you do whatever you want with. You can separate it into areas like this, and you can fill up each of the individual spaces. You can put other designs on it like leaves. It's not a very good looking leaf, and neither was that one, but you get the drift. You can draw circles coming off of it. You can draw more curly lines. You can even do something like this, sort of give it a ribbon feel. I tend to divide my drawings up with straight lines, but definitely using a string can help you, put your drawing into different spaces, each space filled however you want it, or left blank however you want it. And everything is, kind of however you want it done. And it's your drawing to do what you wish with it. So, in the spaces you divide it up, you can fill in. And I go to default to the pinwheel a lot, especially doing examples, because it's quick, it's easy, it fills up faster, and it gives you a nice effect. And you can even make the line for the string a little thicker to define some of the areas a little bit more. So you can vary it how you want, fill it in how you want. Because the drawing is yours. Now this other one is called it's not the Dragonair, that's the one we did last time, and I was just looking at it, and for Pete's sake, I can't remember the name of it. But you start by drawing, and for a guide, you can trace and lightly in pencil, you can trace kind of a banana shape on your paper, but I'm not going to do that. So you take and you arc them out this way, the first set, and the second set, you come in right about midway or 1/3 up, do that, and the next one, same thing. And what you want to do is going up towards the top, you want to start to make the lines a little bit smaller so it narrows. And again, width doesn't really matter, although if you can keep it consistent, it's obviously going to look better. But we're doing what we can here, right, everybody? So, you know, we'll do one more down here because we didn't have enough. Now, what you want to do is take a curved line or a kind of a sideways S and connect all of these spots here. Now, you don't want to cover up this open space between the lines. That comes next. And from the top one here, you just do this. So now that you've got that, and on the bottom we just do a curved thing going up this way. And for this bottom, we extend it out. We can turn it into, you know, a curlicue like that. So now we've got a good part of our design. Now you want to take these open areas and you want to close them with a curved line like that. So now you have your basic shape. Now you can fill this however you want. Something like this doesn't really lend itself too much to adding any kind of this stuff in, or you know, you can do some shading if you've got pencils. You can color them in if you got colored markers or acrylic markers or you know, colored pencils. You can take a regular drawing pencil and you can just shade it like this. You want to give it some shadowing. May not. So now you have kind of a shaded pine cone looking thing. And when you're shading, remember to go light on the pencil, unless, you know, depending on how you're shadowing, because, you know, if you want it darker near the bottom, you go a little bit heavier. But then as you come up towards the middle, you lighten up a little bit. And then you got some nice shading going on there. Some nice shadowing. So, and we're not quite done with it, because you can, if you're so inclined, you can draw another one going this way or going that way. You can also take these lines in between and fill them with dots. And off the top here, you can put a line in kind of like a stem, or you can, you know, go off the top like that with something, you know. And just fill them in, stipple them. You can shade them in to give it a little more contrast. You can use the stippling. You can, you can even fill the spaces if you so desire. My opinion is this doesn't really lend itself to that. Because unless, depending on how you draw it, if you make these spaces in here wider, then, do what you want to your heart's content. But in the meantime, this is what we're getting here. And you want the ends closed off with a curved line and not the ends here, all these here, you want these closed off with a curved line and not a straight one, because you see how it gives the impression that this wraps around. And that's what you're looking for. You little things like that with lines and shapes can give a sense of perspective, can give a sense of continuation, and really give what you're creating visual interest. So we can take this and even do that. And that is, that's today's design. And remember, this one starts with the lines going that way and this way, and you start each line going to the left. You start at about a third of the way up on the one going on the right, because then it gives you this shape. And like the one we did last week, this isn't like the one we did last week where we had the S shape, or some people even do it a backwards S, but this one isn't, where we did the letter C kind of line. And this one we can start wide down here and narrow as we go to the top. And then we connect each one of these with the curved line. But this one's a little bit different, because what you're doing, you're still giving it that sense of wraparound, but in a different manner. As this looks like it's only 1/2, I guess, if you want to put it that way. And then through each of these, after you do the first one, you do another narrow parallel line with it. And this one, you shade it however you want, shadow it however you want, shade it all in if you want. These are a couple of the more complex designs that you can do. We'll be bringing more of them to you as we go along. But in the meantime, create and enjoy. Find your niche. Find the thing that makes you smile, gives you the motivation to do more. And thanks again for visiting Tim's Drawing Room. I really appreciate it. More content on the way, and we will see you very, very soon. Thank you for watching, subscribing, and liking. It means a lot to me, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.